Hey guys, Disorder Magic here, and very interesting announcement. It's going to piss you off. This was not part of Wizards' official PR announcement, articles page, whatever the hell you want to call it. They didn't tweet this. It wasn't on Facebook. They are not making this commonly known. They want this buried. They wanted to do this in secret, and then because this is Wizards of the Coast, one of their staff members leaked it. So guys, when people leak information, I protect my sources. All I'm going to say is his name may or may not rhyme with Dark Nosewater. By the way, Mark, if you ever wanted to become like some kind of masked superhero, I pretty much just came up with the name for you. Crap, I think I just told you guys it was Mark. Anyway, there's a slight change in Ixalan, and somebody theorized this because some people know a lot more than I do even, which is honestly for me not much, about how the sheets are arranged and how they're printed. I know at a basic level how they work, but I haven't kept up on it, and I haven't looked up pictures of them and stuff. I suppose a lot of us know what a sheet of Ixalan looks like now, but that's a bit of a fluke. So the exact probability numbers and print volumes are very debated and very cryptic because, there's not really the threat of box mapping, but Wizard still wants to hide it just because, why should people know how to, manipulate the numbers? And honestly, any kind of single seller, even my size, we order $5 worth of product and open it all, we could just count. Oh, look, I got 20 of each Mythic. I got 50 of each rare. And it is that consistent. It's like plus or minus 2. We opened $10,000 worth of BFZ and we got almost the exact same number of every single rare. At that volume, it is exceedingly predictable. Well, somebody thought, okay, well, this is this and this is this, so what's up? So they asked, by the way, TM00 was the person who asked this, is the rare to mythic ratio still the same for Ixalan? Having a normal rare sheet plus 10 double-faced rares, but only 50 mythics would imply that there is a lower chance to open a mythic than normal. And my mystery source, Dark Nosewater, said it's slightly different. Normally, the chance of getting one particular mythic rare is 1 out of 121. Due to the 10 rare double-face cards, the chance of getting a particular mythic rare in Ixalan is 1 out of 141. There are 20 extra slots, and I think he didn't mean slots, he meant possibilities. There is only one slot. Because rares appear twice as often, making the 10 double-face cards fill 20 slots. So, let's stop right there for a second because the double-face cards that they decided to make all rares and add to the rare pool instead of, including them in the rare pool, they literally just added them to the rare pool, I guess is what they're implying here. Here's the thing about DFCs, okay? So they're ran on a separate sheet, they're cut separately. So they could have just ran off half those sheets, kind of made the double face cards the same rarity as Mythic, except not really because there's still more rares than Mythics, but individually it would have been true. And okay, so it ups the value of them. Cool. A lot of the DFCs are really good. By the way, double face card DFC. But whatever, I guess, okay, make all the rares the same prevalence. There's an argument to be made there too, but the correct way to do this would have been to build them into the rare pool. Every set has kind of the same number of rares and same number of mythics, depending upon the size of the set. It scales, because remember, some sets are 256 or whatever, and some are 186, which, not anymore, they're not doing that anymore. And honestly, once you count Planeswalker cards and basic lands, and it's a mess. It's almost impossible these days to find out how many cards are actually in a set. That's kind of annoying for probability and especially profitability calculations ahead of time. Once you've opened $10,000 worth of product, you can tell how many rares you have, but yeah, very annoying. So whenever we were learning this in math class, the whole relative change probability percentage increase, decrease ratio crap, I think I was sick that day, but if my math is correct, which that's a big if, 16.5% less mythics. Now that's relative to what a normal set would be and what a correctly designed set should have been, if they would have stuck to the universal for the last couple years mythic to rare ratio. So the way I understand it is there's almost always 15 mythics, 17 if you count the planeswalkers, which is why once again this turns into a nightmare. But then there's 51 rares, I think, or 49 after you discount the planeswalker deck, but then usually they share one. So then it actually is 51. God, do I hate the way they're doing this now. Either way, it sounds like they just took that number, we'll just say 51, and tacked on 10 more. Because they're like, we need double face cards. Let's make them rare. Yay. Now, if I recall, I'm pretty sure some of the double face cards from Shadows or something were not rare. I think at least a couple were uncommon, if not common. Actually, yeah, I think they were the whole spectrum because you always got a flip card, but it wasn't always a rare in the pack because otherwise you'd get 2 rares every pack. But then I believe, if I remember correctly, that Ixalan doesn't guarantee you a double face card now, so they made them all rares, which both of those are very questionable decisions. I mean, whatever. You can't just make 10 flip cards and then always put just those 10 in. But either way, I mean, this is bad for Mythics because you might want them and the price just went up. So if the supply went down 16%, then you would think, okay, so the price would go up 16%. Not quite. It's not quite linear and it's not quite exponential the way I understand it. Now, there's way more factors in this. I mean, humans are the ones pricing cards. Pre-orders are a thing, insider information, and just all kinds of nonsense goes into pricing Magic cards. It's a complete, just utter mess. But in general, if you have like 1 million people that want a product, and then you take the amount that you're making of it and cut it in half, it doesn't double the price, but it doesn't quadruple the price either. So like I said, not linear, not exponential, somewhere in the middle. Something about supply and demand curves, I honestly don't care about economics. So I don't remember that class either. So that means instead of just, a $4 Mythic is now, what, $4.60 something, whatever, or a $10 Mythic is now an extra $1.60. No, a $10 Mythic might legitimately be $15 now instead. So that's no fun for anybody except for single sellers. Now, that's to a point because, like I said, this is way more complicated than it may seem just in your head or on paper. If the value of Mythics went up, that just means people are going to open, and by people, by the way, I mean giant single sellers like the huge mega corporations that sell tons of cards. They will keep opening them until they're not higher. Because while they remain higher, I should say the total box EV, while that remains above about 120 to 130, they're going to keep opening it until that's not true or until Wizards doesn't print anymore. It's one of the two. It's very much one of the two, and that is it. And since Wizards doesn't want to stick their distributors with a bunch of product, they kind of trickle it out later, or they're very particular about how much they print in the first place. So here's the thing about Mythics. A lot of people don't like them. There's 3 major complaints that people have. 1, they cost too much because they're half the prevalence of a rare, but they're not like limit 1 per deck or 2 per deck, which 2 per deck would be exactly perfect. It's just, if you want 4 of them, you want 4 of them. Now, they are more likely to be legendary, so it's not always play sets of 4, but, you know, in general, they're going to cost a lot more than a rare, and people don't like that. Spending more money on the game is not something they want to do. So Wizards knew exactly what they were doing because, you know, you still need 4 of, and now the supply just got cut in half. Good luck, cross your fingers, and then the card prices just skyrocketed. And also, people don't like them for draft and sealed because it's like if you get one, you're going to be so much more powerful than your opponents if it's the right Mythic. Because, you know, there's some crap Mythics out there, but in general, they're much more powerful than the average card. So if somebody pulls one, if they draft one, if it's in their pool, whatever, they have an unnatural advantage over somebody else that they couldn't control and has nothing to do with skill. And yeah, pro players want to lower the amount of luck, up the level of skill, and make sure that they can win without any kind of variance. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what poker players like. And the third issue people have with them, it's a long story, I won't get into it. Not really the topic of this video, but yeah, people were not thrilled with Mythics becoming a thing, and a lot of people still want them gone. They want them removed from the game. They never will be, though. Not in a million years. But here's the thing, okay? So you add Mythics, and you add all this value, all this demand that can't be met with supply. All they really did was kick down the price of rares and made Mythics the new gold standard. So, like I said, you can't just add value to a box and think it'll just stay that way and just make the game more expensive to play. That's just not how it works. If a box EV is $200 because you stuffed all this value in it, people are going to keep opening it until it's not $200 or until Wizards stops printing it. And that was the whole theory behind masterpieces. I think that was a brilliant solution. Just shift the income, like 20% of it, the value in the set, the money, the income going to Wizards, shift that to the whales, which is the extremely rich people who will drop a ton of money on a game for collectibles and premium items. And honestly, you don't need masterpieces. There are other versions of the card out there. Duh. So yeah, if you want to completely optionally pick up a masterpiece, then that's on you, and those people will now support the game, and everybody else just trying to play the game and they don't care about collecting or dumping tons of money into it, they now can pay 20% less on average for the average deck. That was a brilliant solution. I don't care what anybody else says. It was a very fair, very brilliant solution. It's a typical way that people run mobile games. They shift the income burden or whatever you want to say to the whales, and then all the rest of the players can get away for dirt cheap. Like a lot of mobile games, like $4.99 and you're the king of the damn game, but you could also spend $200 if you have way the hell too much money. And that business model works and it's fair because it's completely optional. So, I don't know if you heard this or not, but let's throw this out here. Ixalan doesn't have any masterpieces. The one and only reason stated by Wizards on their own website in an article/announcement. So this is verified, not a theory. They are running out of cards that are worthwhile. And if you look at the bar graph, somebody actually did this. It was the average or the cumulative cost or whatever of BFZ, then OGW, all the masterpieces in a row. And it's literally just like a downhill slope, like a perfect slope. So they're running out of cards that are even above, $15-20 to include because they're reprinting everything else in Masters, basically. They started with lands because they were the most expensive, and then they went down and down and down, and once they hit creatures, there's nothing after that. I mean, they already did powerful and common spells. They already did artifacts, which are colorless, so they're 5 times more likely to be in a given deck. And then lands, I mean, duh, they're more likely to be in a deck. Everybody needs lands. So creatures would be the 4th choice. Oh, look, freaking Dark Confidant and Tarmogoyf, the real obvious ones. After that, I mean, what, Planeswalkers? After that, Commanders, and then you're out. There's nothing left to print. You'd have to start the cycle over or something. So they just said they're splitting it up. They're not gone, but they're not in the set. So it'll probably be like a once a year kind of thing out of the 4 sets. So that sucks because now all the rares and mythics are going to go back up in price because of, like I said, until the box EVs hit about 120, people are going to keep opening it. And if 20% of that value is masterpieces, the remaining amount is dirt cheap rares and mythics. And that is what we've been seeing. So without those assisting, these rares from Ixalan and the mythics are going to be worth a ton. And then on top of that, the mythics are going to be even more rare, which is why people are pissed. So if you understand those two concepts, and the impact of this, I mean, it wouldn't be that unusual to have a certain mythic, a couple of them hit double the price they would normally be, or triple. Because there's like, oh, this is a powerful card, it's $4. Okay, maybe now it's 5, 6, 7, whatever. But then the one that everybody wants, the $30 mythic, that could hit like 60, 70, 80. I mean, it's just whatever people are willing to pay and what their absolute price cap is to just play what they consider in their mind to be the top decks. In other words, stupid net deckers. I think we all know that they're the ones who eat up all these cards, but if there's just a blatantly good mythic that I want in my deck, it also affects me too, so it's not exclusively the copycats. But I mean, when everybody literally wants the same damn couple of cards from the same tournament results, it's a little more artificial than if people just said, well, that's clearly the most powerful mythic and I want it. So you take all of those factors, add them together, we're going to have some crazy expensive mythics. So apparently not every single seller quite heard this yet, I guess. I can't think of any other explanation because, doing $1 million worth of Magic card sales per month or whatever, they should know what they're doing at this point. And, not always. Sometimes they sell a card for $2 and then by the time it gets to me, it's $10 a card because fraying sanity. They just didn't appreciate what it was, and they listened to some idiot on some blog with some crooked, biased, manipulative article. And they said one card's no good and this card's really good, and then they believed them because, professional analysts who totally aren't being paid by the single sellers that they write for to hype certain cards and trash others to manipulate prices. Yeah, that happens all the time. Former writers for certain websites that I won't name have said that they were pressured to do this. They're like, we have to move this card, but it's crap. Hype it up in an article. Like, they literally said that word for word. Anyway, enough about stupid single sellers that don't know what they're doing. Well, not really, because some of them have some mythics at really low prices. So this might be one of the first times in recent memory, probably not ever, but in recent memory for sure, that mythics as a whole start at one level on release day, or the pre-order prices now, and then go up. Because people are like, I want this card, and suddenly there's way less to go around. And remember, pretty much nobody in the world opens their singles, for resale, until, at the earliest, Wednesday the 27th. So that's when it'll start kicking in why are we pulling so few mythics? That's why you gotta pay attention to all this news. And subscribe to the Desolator Magic channel. You guys know if Wizards is up to some shenanigans and makes some change to the game that harms people, I'm gonna make a video on it. And obviously, evidently in the past, it should be pretty obvious at this point, if they do something amazing to fix the game, ban a card, make a change, fire someone, hire someone, whatever, I'm going to cover that too. I just cover the news. So yeah, this is definitely harmful to the players. I think they made a mistake here. It's not like the end of the world, but it's going to affect each and every single last person playing Magic, not just the net deckers, not just the hyper competitive pro players, because honestly, they don't care. They're going to spend more on the hotel than they did on their damn deck. But every time you look at, you know, Archangel of Ties and say, oh crap, now it's $10, I can't afford it because the rest of my deck is 15. Why the hell would I drop $40 on just the rest of it? Because remember, a lot of us are trying to win packs because hello, money, value. You don't just win a little trophy or a ribbon so you can feel good about yourself. You're winning basically paper money. So the best way to get a really good return on your investment, if you even want to call it that way, that's going a little far. But you know, you build a deck for 15 bucks and if you win 20 bucks in prizes, great. You just won at Magic. Go you. That's not everybody's mindset. Some people just want to win because they're competitive. I'm kind of both, honestly. I'm hyper competitive and I like winning, but I'm also broke as hell, so I like money. So yeah, dropping like $80 on a set of Mythics for a deck that doesn't cost, you know, very much in the first place, and then trying to win that value back in packs, you'll never get a return on it. Never in a million years. So that just sucks. I mean, do I think that no card should ever be above $5 because socialism and Magic? No, I mean, I get it. People want the best cards. You know, net decking aside, people are still going to be like, that's a good card and they're going to want it. I mean, net decking just amplifies it and makes it, you know, a lot more drastic of a price swing. So I get it. They can't just print all 15 Mythics at exact equal, you know, reception from the players, exact equal playability, exact equal power. That's not possible. I mean, they could stop putting one or more just utter garbage red Mythics and it's always red in every single set. That would help. But other than that, I mean, this is not possible. So this is really just unfortunate. I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, I heard a rumor that there's like a $30 Mythic already and it's not even that good of a card. It's pretty much just, oh crap, there's only 5 sets to go around to build your deck with now. So now really everybody's going to want the same card. So yeah, that into the equation after the Pro Tour, it's going to get nuts. So I guess my advice, because there's always 2 sides to this. When cards go up, there's always 2 sides to it. Like for example, if you're on the side of the selling side. So if you open a Mythic, hold on to it for a little bit and see if it goes up. I mean, generally Magic cards across the board almost always go down. You know, especially like over quite a few weeks. But I'm thinking as supplies start running out and there's no way to buy more Mythics on buy lists, there's not going to be an option. I mean, you're just going to see sold out on certain single sellers. And I've even seen recently when there's a run on a card, there's like 3 eBay listings instead of like 300 for a given card. Like the total amount available on eBay, if you were to literally buy them all from America, is like 12. That's insane. So just think this could get severe enough that you quite literally cannot find the card anywhere. I mean, somebody in some trade binder, some deck, or some store is going to have them just by chance and just sheer probability. They'll just open one. But the typical vendors, I think they're going to start running out of these. I think it might get that bad with certain cards. We'll see, though, because maybe Amonkhet Zombies is the hot deck and then nobody even touches Ixalan. That would be, you know, the perfect thing to counteract this. Not really an ideal outcome in general, but that would cause this to not happen. So remember, this is not absolutely set in stone. It's just kind of looking bad. But what do you guys think? Do you say, okay, cool, now I open a Mythic and it's worth more, yay, more of a prize, which is good because masterpieces are gone? Or are you thinking, oh crap, I tend to build with hyper powerful cards instead of like really just unique, weird, obscure decks. I just go for power. What do they call those people? Spikes or whatever? They just want to run the most powerful cards and ramp into them and just run people over. Yeah, if that's you, you're going to be paying a little bit more for Ixalan, theoretically. So what do you guys think of that? Like, does it really affect you, do you think? I mean, it does. Like, probability-wise and price-wise and economics, it does. It's not really an opinion, it's a fact. But what do you think about all this? Do you think Wizards made a mistake? Should they have worked the 10 double-face cards into the rare pool and just, you know, because there's what, like 10 red rares, 10... Well, I think there's 9. And then, yeah, then some colorless, but it depends on the size of the set. Like I said, total mess. But they should have just worked the double face cards into the existing color slots instead of just adding them on the fly. That just seems really, really weird to me. And I think now there's no way to verify this until I actually see like a sheet or well, a different sheet. I think we've all seen the Ixalan sheet. This may have affected the prevalence of uncommons. I'm not sure because that's like a static 3 in the pack. I don't really know how that works. So yeah, a lot of unintended consequences or intended consequences depending upon who you look at, because at the end of the day this really does benefit a lot of single sellers because they'll be able to get more for their cards. But there is the suppressing fact that they will still continue to open it until they're not worthwhile. So maybe the mythics will hover around a reasonable price eventually, and then the rares will just tank compared to them. Or the mythics will go up in prices, and then the rares will completely tank, which that has happened in the past too. Mostly it was just the rares not being good. So, multiple reasons. But let me know in your comments about this situation, and I don't know, tell everybody you know. Because, I mean, I get the feeling that Wizards doesn't want you to know that your odds of pulling a card that's worth a crap are lower now. Gee, I wonder why that would be. Maybe there's a bit of a connotation there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.